deflection, Ethan knows that showing someone's Instagram profile on a live stream with thousands of viewers invites harassment. Saying, let's see if anyone can identify him at all, is asking your fans to investigate and expose him. And
this is some really interesting times that we are in at the moment. Some real fucking interesting times. What is this? Is this Power of Abuse or still comedy? I kind of want to watch this. What is this?
What happens when a content creator, someone with millions of followers, decides to use their platform as a weapon? Not only against...
Damn, this account has 1,000 subs, 50K views on this video. Holy shit.
Trolls or content creators he doesn't like, but also against regular people who dare to criticize them.
At this point, you're totally f***ed. Here's the thing. We're going to get your IP address. We're going to find out your information. We have forensic, digital.
Ethan Klein has an interesting life. You know, go to work and hit the live button in your studio decked out with thousands of dollars worth of film production equipment. Producers left and right to chime in sometimes and hit the technical difficulty screen to save your ass when you say a few things you shouldn't say.
I don't know why I thought that. Apparently she did not have sex with Destiny, although it...
Maybe recklessly throw around a few claims here and there without anything to back it up.
They literally talk about doing psyops, faking posts, brigading, and all this shit. And I have 4 years of all of his chats. There's stuff in there that will put him in prison. I'm not even fucking kidding.
Okay, so apparently he has something to back it up. But I mean, it is kind of hard to trust his interpretation of what he sees, considering that he has proven in the past that he is incapable of interpreting things. He's not exactly the beacon of credibility.
I mean, because like, it's not right. Like, you think you're being the good guy and like, you're just being a fucking bigot, bro.
The person he was claiming had sex with Epstein was Denims, by the way. Oh, God. Oh, gross.
Oh, and also spread misinformation.
Yeah, I have his logs that'll land him in prison. I think is about bad empanada,
Information
right?
To your massive platform as you please because you don't like someone.
That's what bad Hezbollah is. It's like a meme. Hezbollah in Hebrew means propaganda. And it's like a weird slur that people started picking up, calling just like Hezbollah means like a lying Jew, essentially.
It's funny. In this live stream from last night, he mischaracterizes the podcast, proving his interesting imagination. Apparently, Hezbollah means lying Jew, which clearly indicates anti-Semitic implications. Oh, but just so you know, guys, Ethan's telling a lie here. It's just a card Ethan loves to pull at every chance. Something to critique about me? You're an anti-Semite. Hezbollah actually comes from the Hebrew word for explaining. Matt Lieb, a Jewish man himself by the way, clarified this on his Twitter. You can also just find this out through any Wikipedia or dictionary. And after that, maybe also...
It's also the terminology that the Israeli government has landed on in terms of doing information warfare. That's the crazy part about it, is that it's not about like intentionally lying or whatever the fuck Ethan is saying, but it is precisely what like it is what the Israeli government hands out to organizations that go and give it out to, you know, campus protesters that are protesting for Israel. It's documented and deliberate. It's not like even sheltered or hidden. It's not like some secret conspiracy. It's just like openly what the Israeli government wants young Americans to do, specifically young American Jews.
Also drop a few bits of information to kind of suggest to your audience that you should go and tell a company, sponsor, or community that you come from the H3 podcast, if you know what I mean.
This guy, Matt Lieb, he works for Good Mythical Morning. This guy is... Well,
yeah, the craziest part about this is that, like Ethan would be like, I'm not a Zionist. Or then we'll turn around and be like, but all Jews are Zionists. And if you were talking about Zionists, you mean all Jews. But then literally we'll do the exact same thing that the fucking Canary Mission does. Okay? Straight up fascist groups immediately be like, this guy works here. This guy works there. I'm going to dox random fucking Redditors. I'm going to try to do fake lawsuits, like ridiculous, frivolous lawsuits with the hopes of getting your background information so I can fucking dox you and then keep telling all of your friends and family that you're a fucking anti-Semite. It's insane. Yeah, it's mental illness. No, the mental illness in this circumstance is Zionism. That's what it is. That's the real mental illness here. It's not like an additional different kind of mental illness. I'm sure, you know, there might be extra problems there as well. But yeah, this is when you are hopped up, when your brain just gets broken by fascist ideology such as Zionism, you start behaving in this way. It fucking rots your brain. And you think that you're wokely on a conquest against anti-Semitism.
This guy works for Good Mythical Morning, acting like he's wholesome. He's evil. I mean, he is just a disgusting fucking piece of shit. And I think it's...
I will not stop until everyone that has hurt Israel's feelings is fired from their jobs. Okay? I will not stop.
Insane that...
I mean, this is a guy who also actively petitioned to deplatform me, and when it didn't work, he fucking lost his mind even further.
Good Mythical Morning and hire somebody.
I mean, it works. Your fans show up to the brigade. They just aren't the sharpest.
Please watch the latest HT video and do your own research on your employees and who they're platforming and endorsing the views of. I hope Good Mythical Morning isn't condoning this behavior. Dude, seriously? After everything he has been doing to you put him on the show today? Bad Empanada fan club council meeting. Maybe get Bad Empanada on tomorrow.
There's tools in the shed, though. You fool. He said that he works at Good Mythical Morning. He's not a guest. He's been working there since 2019. You've blown our cover now. I mean, look at this. They're brigading the video now. These are how many dislikes they got on a normal video.
Yeah, always. It's always so suspicious. Whoever Ethan has in his fucking crosshairs, they always, those videos, as soon as he talks about it, get mass disliked and mass comments. It's just everyone else is evil, okay? The guy who's operating a snark podcast, not evil. Everyone else actually that says, hey man, why don't you fucking do that? Why don't you stop doing that? Please stop doing this. This seems insane. Nope, those are the people that are evil.
And here is the episode that came out after Ethan said
he works for Good Mythical Morning. This guy works for Good Mythical Morning. I mean, he is pro-terrorism. He's evil. He is just a disgusting fucking piece of shit.
Look at how many dislikes they have now. And the comments. And then, for good measure...
I'm sad to say it, but I don't think I can continue supporting Good Mythical Morning with what has happened regarding ML, Matt Lieb. I don't think Red and Link are bad people, but this seems like a very unwise choice to continue their work with someone who is willing to platform harassment and lies. Why is your employee platforming pro-terror content on his podcast? Yeah, dude. Good Mythical Morning is going to fucking fire their Jewish producer for being an anti-Zionist. This is how we're combating anti-Semitism, okay? Not a single Jew will maintain their job as long as they are not unconditionally pro-Israel. This is how I will fight against anti-Semitism. It's psychotic. It's so insane.
Recklessly throw another comment.
When she comes out, please.
What are they just watching an Israeli showing clothing and shitting on her? Like, is that what they're actually doing?
Even though they're...
This is also so incredibly consistent where he just like refuses to seek out the context of what they're doing and just angrily scrolls through it. And it's just like, yeah, I've decided this is fucked up. I've decided this is hateful. Also, I'm going to call a Jewish anti-Zionist, two Jewish anti-Zionists, okay? Two Jewish anti-Zionists, token Jews. And without a shred of irony, without even a shred of consideration for what that implies, you know, just going to call them bad Jews. Nice, dude. Yeah, definitely. Definitely combating anti-Semitism big time here.
They're actually watching a TikTok of a woman in New York who wants to sell clothing that she named after individual hostages, and then call it a day at work. And then make some Instagram stories too. Ethan and Hila have built an empire. Millions of subscribers, a dedicated fan base. With that kind of influence comes responsibility. But instead of using it wisely, they manipulate it. When you recklessly throw around unchecked claims, some people are going to believe you. The audience takes what he says at face value, or sometimes not everybody is able to listen to every moment of the podcast. Look at what he says here.
And he's bringing on somebody that wants to kill my wife, unironically.
Ooh, I gotta go. That's all I can watch. I'm late for my hot dog eating contest.
Wait,
but
what?
Damn, he tried to kill his wife? Here's what you would have seen and heard if you didn't tune out.
or in a video game. But I do think, I mean, he is pro-terrorism.
The real problem is that it just doesn't stop with words. His audience absorbs the tone, the narrative, and the hostility. When you alter reality, when you mislead millions, when you encourage mob behavior, whether directly or indirectly, you're not only an entertainer, you're an abuser of power. So today, we're exposing how Hila and Ethan weaponize their influence, and why it needs to stop.
If we can't have like words that we can all agree on, how are we ever going to talk about anything?
That's a great point, Hila. Let's first define some words to fully grasp what we're dealing with here. If this is your first time on Earth, there's this thing people often like to do called...
What is this? Genuinely stunned at this. He's not mentally with us, like, at all. Understand that when Hasan accuses me of being obsessed with him, that he does this type of shit 10x per day, and when I eventually respond that this is why... Yeah, that's right. I'm obsessive, dude. Is correct. He got me. Yeah. Me obsessively defending myself against a rapacious, relentless stream of smears and demands for deplatforming. Really fucked up.
Abuse of power. This is the abuse of a position of power in order to harm other people, to bully them, or place them at advantage in order to procure personal advantages for oneself or one's favorites. Doxing describes the search for and publishing private or identifying information about a...
You were right, though. Che did not kill a 12-year-old. Where did that nonsense even come from? Prager you. Who the fuck do you think? Some fucking insane right-wing garbage platform that Ethan is consuming that he didn't even actively consume. He just saw on the corner of his eye somewhere.
Particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. Doxing is a common tool used by dictatorships and authoritarian regimes to silence dissent, intimidate opponents, and control the population.
Yeah, if you're not obsessive, then why is your name all over his Insta stories for the last months? You're right. I want to apologize to Ethan Klein. I want to apologize to Ethan Klein for existing and also being an advocate for Palestinian emancipation, and doing that was obviously a mistake, because that caused them to basically do an Instagram story on me every single day and then talk about me on every single podcast, and even hire new employees that apparently also actively about and my political positions. Like, basically just reformatting the show in a way where we're just going to sit there and lie about shit that either Hasan is saying or lie about political issues that he cares about, you know? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was looking like a snack and that caused you to fucking lose your mind a little bit and talk about me basically every day.
Just to be clear, I am just defining phrases here.
I think he just needs to take a break.
Ethan frequently makes petty and accused.
I'm so obsessed. That's why Ethan took his content flop and brought it onto Twitch and has just been cycling it on repeat to like 20 people every day to an increasingly smaller audience of people as his follower count diminishes.
Accusatory remarks about Hasan, some of which veer into exposing aspects of his private life. He tries to expose that he might have a secret girlfriend, or how he is certain he has a housekeeper that he doesn't pay appropriately to socialist standards, and also that he communicates with her over...
Also, the part about this that he deleted because he was like, you know, because his fans yelled at him over this shit. But the other side of this, oh my God. The other side of this that is so insane is that he only talks about this stuff when there's shit going on in his life. Like, he was being sued by his maid. So he's like, yeah, guess what, dude? This is what's going on.
For a translator.
So I dropped a bomb on Instagram stories yesterday that
Thanks for the
since
bomb.
our friendship was a farce, I have zero problem discussing these things. I put out a question before, who's making his chicken? People have been wondering what's making his chicken. His fans and supporters say it's his mom, which is, they really think his mom is just slaving away all day. A grown-ass woman with a job who
For someone who claims to watch enough of my content, I find it rather shocking that Ethan didn't hit me on what actually he could get motion on, which is that I'm a serial abuser of Uber Eats. Okay? Like, that's what's so funny about this process is that he thinks that I have like a permanent live-in maid that's cooking me every day and then making fucking food and placing it in various different containers, such as plastic containers that have "Oh No Hawaiian Barbecue" on it, like branded. Good stuff.
who apparently just got a PhD. Like, she's like a real ass person with a life. She's just at home cooking chicken for her son all day. So
Anne. Gel bir gelsene. Gel bir, I want you to just wave at the camera from over there if you can. There you go. No, just no reason. I just wanted you to. There's people who question whether or not you're at my house. Don't worry about it. All right. It's okay. You can go back to your work. Okay, well, now you got Kaya riled up. Okay. Kaya, please.
they're calling me a liar, which is good because it means that if it's true, which it is, it might affect their opinion of him. I met her. She's a lovely Hispanic lady. She doesn't speak English. She cleans and cooks, works full time, I believe. Hasan grunts and uses Google to talk to her. Because I was shocked, frankly, when I saw her. So I asked some questions. I was like, is she, I think she's undocumented, which is, I don't know that for sure, but that was my impression. To take advantage of people, I would have gone and got myself an undocumented worker to clean my house.
And on top of that, he demands Hasan to reveal his supposed housekeeper's wage. While Ethan spreads this misguided narrative around, here is a Twitch streamer who has also been to Hasan's house.
Cinderella, Austin, Will.
I've been there! Wait, am I not a real Hasan friend? Did I not get the full Hasan house experience? Am I not cool enough to meet the enslaved migrant Hispanic, only Spanish-speaking housekeeper who's undocumented?
Could it be that Ethan just saw Hasan's mom, took one look at her, and assumed that she's an undocumented migrant worker that can't speak English?
My suspicion on this, because I asked my mom about this, I was like, were you there? Did you meet Ethan? And I don't think she met Ethan. So my suspicion is most likely that Ethan met one of the contractors that my mom from time to time will bring over. There's also a person that does handyman work around the house. It's not just Marat. Every now and again, when shit's broken, I have landscapers that I also have contracted. Okay? A guy that comes in once a week to work on the pool. Like that in and of itself, I think, tilted him in this direction.
Just want to quickly say, I have been to a Turkish household before, and yes, it is absolute that a Turkish mother will cook an entire meal for their child.
Yeah, but the notion that my mom isn't around or isn't cooking me fucking meals every now and then is ridiculous. Genuinely.
even when their son is like a fully grown adult. But that isn't the point. It isn't about whether Hasan has a housekeeper or not. Maybe he does, who cares? The real issue is that Ethan is spreading a baseless claim, prying into Hasan's private life in bad faith. Personal matters like this aren't public property, and being a public figure doesn't erase someone's right to privacy. Even
How does it feel to have a mom who loves you? I'm very fortunate. Your mom was literally bringing in people off the street during the fires? Yeah, I know. She was trying to do that. Hey, it's me, your plumber. You got to stop stuffing paper toilets into the tower, clogging the pipes. It's also crazy. It's also crazy to like, even if you personally suspected that someone working in my house was undocumented, which is not the case, but even if you personally suspected that, why the fuck would you say that under the Trump administration? Are you insane? Like that's, you didn't think even a little bit about this when you were just like chirping about this on stream? You're talking about people fucking calling CPS to your house, which I think is completely unacceptable. Like ridiculous shit, right? You didn't consider that like that could potentially cause ICE to fucking come to my house? Yeah, they're gonna lock up my fucking mom or the landscaper or anyone with the hopes that they nabbed somebody and then fucking ship them off to El Salvador. Insanity.
Even if these details aren't inherently damning, Ethan is still pushing a narrative to make Hasan seem inconsistent or hypocritical, shaping public perception to fit his own agenda. And then
on Monday, they claimed your parents don't live with you and you probably own multiple houses. Why would I own multiple houses? I live rent-free in his mind, it seems. Even past all this, isn't he in a lawsuit for wrongful termination? Yes, that's why he said that shit. Because the reason why he said that is because like he wanted to move the attention from his audience that would have cared about this. His own personal issue. And then turned around and like started talking about my family, which I think is fucking crazy. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Like, there are unwritten, unspoken rules, right? In even like YouTube drama sphere shit, where like you're not supposed to take it to the kiwi farms level. You know what I mean? This is obsessive. This is straight up kiwi farm shit. Talk about Hasan, don't talk about his family. Exactly. It just blows my fucking mind, dude.
we also have Ethan endorsing harassment towards Reddit employees and their families.
Or I'll say
There's a reason why I don't, like, I rarely ever bring up my family. I talk about them every now and then, or my private life in general. It's because I already have a bunch of rabid fucking haters. What the fuck? Like, I don't want them to be unjustifiably targeted and smeared and fucking attacked. Like, it's crazy. I can deal with it. Remember when they tried to say your father was a billionaire? They still do. Grok says it too. It's really funny. Someone was like, at Grok, what is Hasan's father's net worth? And Grok was like, Hasan's father has $5 billion. It's so stupid.
Say this. I do want to say Steve Huffman, Jen Wong, Drew Valero, do you think that is? Yeah. Christopher Slow. I would very much not want you to experience how terrible it is to have a snark subreddit digging into you and everyone close to you.
Like, This is the irony is completely lost on him, where he thinks like this video basically covering this in sequence kind of exposes the inherent hypocrisy of like his actions, and then how he's like turning around and being like, yeah, I'm gonna do that to everyone, not ever considering that maybe consistently doing that is the reason why a lot of people also come after you in ways that are completely ridiculous and completely unacceptable. This is precisely what I was talking about with the CPS shit, when people were mad at me, when they're like, Hasan, or his audience was mad at me, and I think Ethan was mad at me too, where I was like, I don't think this is even remotely appropriate. I don't think it's remotely acceptable to fucking call CPS on a YouTuber that you don't like. I think it's ridiculous. You're doing harm to the children. I think Ethan's children are significantly better off being with Ethan, regardless of his opinions, regardless of whatever the fuck he's doing. And I would never justify an action like that because I'm not Ethan Klein, is what I said. And people were like, oh, how does he not realize like him bringing up Ethan at all when defending himself is actually the reason why Ethan is getting CPS called on him? It's like, how do you not understand this? My point is, I think consistently fucking obsessively going after every single person every single day is unironically drawing a shit ton of negative attention towards them and their immediate family members. And it's what Ethan is doing every day. And there's evidence for it, like right here.
And organizing harassment in real life and online everywhere you go, because that I just don't want that for anybody. It would suck to make a snark subreddit about the leadership of Reddit.
That probably exists the way that you just
think
said
so?
That. I mean,
well, let's
there's
go
nothing
join.
Redditors love more than complaining about Reddit.
I don't think so. I think we might be starting a movement. But if there is one, then God bless, let's join. You know what I mean? Let's join the movement.
I won't be joining that.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Considering Ethan has a massive platform, he is playing with fire by pointing out specific individuals and entertaining the idea of targeting them.
Yeah, he does. He does encourage harassment. I don't want people to harass Ethan Klein. I've said this time and time again. I don't. I think it's fucking ridiculous. Ethan, on the other hand, does encourage this harassment. Like, there was a dude that rolled up on fucking, what's his face? The Twitch CEO, Dan Clancy. And he posted the clip on his fucking Instagram. You're rewarding people for going out in the real world and just, like, targeting your enemies, dude. There's a million CEOs that you could be making out to be an enemy before you arrive at the fucking CEO of Twitch, okay? Holy shit. That is insane to me. Like, there are, the words of Bill Burr, there's dudes who, you know, own, there's dudes who privatize water, okay? There's healthcare CEOs out there. And his gripe is with fucking the CEO of Twitch.
The passive
It was a lady, sir. Oh, I didn't watch the video. I just saw.
aggressive justification of saying
Would very much not want you to experience
is an indirect encouragement of scrutiny and potential harassment. With his audience influence, even a vague suggestion can inspire people to take action. Whether
There's like actually anti-Semitic CEOs that own social media platforms. Fucking Elon Musk. Like, Elon Musk is now a part of the federal government. He is literally a sig-heiling neo-Nazi who owns Twitter. Okay? And instead of talking about that guy, you're like, you know who is the real, you know who's a real anti-Semite? Dan Clancy. Why is he anti-Semitic? Because he won't deplatform people that I want him to deplatform, even though he does deplatform them sometimes. But even then, it's not hard enough.
he explicitly commands it or not.
This was sent to my sister today. She's 16 years old. They haven't slowed down. This is the type of shit my family receives every single day.
This is a form of intimidation rather than constructive criticism. Encouraging a mob mentality can incite people to actively part in targeting individuals. While Ethan and his fans may argue that this isn't doxing because the names were already public, the issue is how he framed it, which is problematic and falls into a gray area of targeted exposure, a form of soft doxing. Just because something is publicly available doesn't mean it's ethical to broadcast it in a way that could lead to harassment. Executives at Reddit aren't the same as celebrities or politicians. They likely don't expect or want their names amplified in a way that could lead to direct targeting on a personal level. Not only does he dox public figures, but he also doxes private individuals. On the 27th of February, Hila Klein posted a picture of the David Starr tattoo. One person wrote, "I used to watch you when you had only 15k subs. Glad that's behind me. Enjoy hell." Ethan then went live on his podcast the next day and scrolled through her comment section as content.
I'm obsessed with you guys when you only had 15k subs. Glad that's behind me. Enjoy hell. This guy's for real. Look this guy up. Enjoy hell. He said enjoy hell. That's halfway there.
He's not. Oh yeah.
Yes, he's a real guy.
Blocked him 'cause he's not showing up for me.
Here he is. If anyone, let's see if I know, can identify him at all. Which one's Joe? Let's see. I think it's this guy. No, it is. Here, let me show you. That's him.
Oh.
That's him right there.
Ethan then calls him an anti-Semite.
Trust me, when I see an anti-Semite, I know I can spot him.
Wow.
And indirectly
Yeah, well, he says I'm anti-Semitic as well, so
he tells his community to find out where he works and tell his boss and family about it.
I don't know if any of you guys know him, but certainly anyone who would employ him or probably even his parents would be pretty disappointed to see that, although who knows?
This is a clear abuse of power because Ethan is leveraging his massive platform to dox, humiliate, and potentially endanger the private individual over a social media comment. Now, even when the last two words of his comment are not the friendliest of messages, does it justify Ethan's reaction? Ethan knows that showing someone's Instagram profile on a live stream with thousands of viewers invites harassment. Saying, let's see if anyone can identify him at all, is asking your fans to investigate and expose him. And because his audience has a history of dogpiling people he calls out, this makes it an intentional act of incitement. This is a thinly veiled call for his audience to dig up personal
I mean,
information.
it's not even thinly veiled. If you ever did something like this, you would lose 90% of your audience and be banned immediately. Yes. And the very same drama slop tubers that refuse to ever fucking talk about Ethan or only talk about Ethan and defend him because he's coming after people like myself that they hate more than they even hate Ethan would be writing an endless torrent of articles about how I am the worst villain that the internet has ever seen. Now, of course, I wouldn't do that because I think that's fucked up. Okay? Because I think it's fucked up. I think it's wrong. It's wrong to do that. Okay? With great power comes great responsibility. I think that you have a finite amount of time where, you know, you could be doing things, especially on a broadcast. They try to compare you pulling up logs, but whenever you do that, you always, when I pull up logs, one, I tell people not to fucking dogpile. And secondly, they're anonymous. There is no equivalence here. I don't actively go like, oh, I wonder where he lives. Let me go find his fucking place of employment. And also, on top of that, the people whose logs I'm pulling up are people half the time being like, I'm going to shoot you in the fucking head. Like, the fuck? You defended me after me calling me woke of the day? Yes. I don't go after fucking personal details, try to figure out where this person lives, and then actively choose to find their place of gainful employment to get them fired from their job. I think it's very dangerous, regardless of your political perspective, to just like serialize this kind of content, to normalize this kind of thing, to serialize this kind of content. And I don't know. I wish that I wish that they would stop. I wish that he would stop. That's what I've been begging for from the jump. And not because I'm like terrified of his worldview or his opinions or I'm sheltering my audience from his perspective or whatever. It's something that you guys have heard a million times over. I've also openly stated that I would go and I would debate him in person, so we can't fucking clip context in person. And he doesn't want to do that because he knows that if he were to do that, he would look very stupid because, like it or not, aside from this kind of shit that he's doing, he also is not very knowledgeable on the issues he speaks of. And it's not just me. He can have Bad Empanada on. He can shit on Bad Empanada if he wants to. He can have Matt Lieb on. Shit on Matt Lieb if he wants to. There are plenty of people he could talk to that are still significantly more knowledgeable on the issues that he tries to speak out on than himself.
Encouraging his fans to contact his boss and family is a direct attempt to ruin his life over an edgy comment. And what makes this...
The other side of this, of course, is that like I don't need to do much to make him look silly. He's doing that all on his own.
All the more unsettling to a personal level, he begins to look at his mom's pictures, dragging innocent family members into the situation.
Here's his mom. I'm not going to click that for her. I'm not, you know what? F him. This is what you... Here's your mom. I wonder if she knows what you do on social media on your free time. You love your mama. Good thing she's not Jewish, hey, Joe? I love it. I love it. So anyway, best of luck to you out there, Joe. I don't know who you are, but you're a fucking asshole. And shame on you. Yeah.
And look at his eyes at this moment. I mean, this is quite irrelevant, but look at how he is hyper-focused in, with vacant eyes glazed over this guy's mom menacingly. The silent moments are deafening, and that occasional...
I love it. I love it.
It's just unsettling. You could submit that clip for an audition to be an antagonist in a movie like No Country for Old Men, and you would get the role. The original comment, while harsh, is still just an Instagram comment from a random person. Ethan, a multi-millionaire with millions of followers, is punching down hard on someone who most likely has zero power or influence. So this makes Ethan's behavior even more blatantly abusive because he publicly defamed a random person, dragged innocent people into it, incited career and social consequences, and potentially endangered someone's life. This is doxing, and for those that believe it isn't, because once again, his profile isn't private or wasn't private at this moment, you have to understand that Ethan's intent was 100% to expose. Actively highlighting his profile in images, zooming into faces, and identifying persons brings attention to personal details that wouldn't normally be so widely seen. It turns a private individual into a public target. He is actively digging for anything that could identify the person. His crew member managed to identify something recognizable and the location that particular thing is in.
That he's in front of, that's in...
Is that right?
Yeah, it's at the...
This shifts it from casual browsing to an invasive search for personal details. And Ethan is indirectly suggesting to his audience to investigate further. Even without explicitly telling them to harass the person, it often leads to harassment or threats, which is just what happened. Here is a lovely DM he received from somebody.
So shout out to Ethan Klein that my mom, who is an art teacher at an impoverished public school, has to deal with this shit. You are truly the morally superior YouTuber.
See, the power imbalance here also creates a culture of fear. The person he just doxed has below 200 followers, just an average person. Ethan has millions of followers on a variety of platforms. When someone like Ethan calls attention to a regular person like him, the regular person faces unprecedented levels of harassment they're completely unprepared for. At the end of the day, criticism, especially from a random person online, does not justify exposing their identity or opening them up to mass harassment. Ethan has countless ways to respond that don't involve punching down at someone who lacks the same platform, protection, and influence.
Harassment that me and Hila are receiving is just genuinely unfucking comparable.
Ethan constantly fights for silencing his critics and for the removal of free speech. One incident took place when Ethan Klein decided that he had enough of the H3 Snark subreddit. r/H3 Snark is a community on Reddit dedicated to criticizing and discussing Ethan Klein and the H3H3 podcast. It focuses on calling out hypocrisy, controversies, and questionable behavior by Klein and his podcast crew. Members of the subreddit often analyze his statements, business practices, and legal disputes, sometimes with a critical or sarcastic tone. Can you find hateful comments on there? Probably. But you know where I found tons of hateful comments without even having to scroll down much? This place. This freedom of discussing such topics would soon come to an end when Ethan posted this on his Instagram story.
I can't wait till I find out who the snarkers are, because I'm gonna sue them.
He threatened to sue the mods of the subreddit, claiming defamation and harassment.
Listen, guys, at this point, you're totally fucked. Here's the thing. There's a subpoena that's going to come. You can't erase your data. Even if you didn't log in, we're going to get your IP address. We're going to find out your information. We have forensic, digital. It's all part of a lawsuit.
Saying this was a happy birthday cone on is crazy work. Just like, it's cartoonish. Like, we're going to do forensic data analysis to figure out who has ever said a mean word about me is a crazy thing.
Suit that's going to drop in about 3 weeks.
What is this? I saw a clip that made me feel really sad about the path Ethan decided to go down instead of following what he says in the clip.
I don't want to talk about this whole conflict anymore, really, at all, ever. And I'm frankly also thinking about putting something that I need to discuss with Hasan, but I do feel like I'm probably going to pause leftovers for the time being. You know what I mean?
Okay, Ethan.
Because you know what I mean? It's just, I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's it. And it sounds like a lot of y'all don't want me to talk about it either.
Fuck. Fair.
So with all that being said, I shall go suffer at home in silence with worms infecting my fucking eye sockets, and I will just sit at home and stare at the wall in silence and in dark.
I think one of the craziest parts about this is that if he unironically stopped talking about Israel, like completely, if he was just like, I can't do this, you are the most deluded human in existence. I hope your downturn continues, bucko. Thanks, bucko. If a perfect victim confronted him, would it be enough to break through? No, I don't think so. My man said bucko, dude. That's crazy. Up yours, woke moralist. Anyway, if he had unironically stopped talking about Israel and like tuned that shit out and just went back to goofs and gaffs, I'm sure that he wouldn't have like kept getting pushback from his audience that were like obviously at odds with what he was saying and were tuning in, expecting him to basically like change his trajectory and his commentary on the matter. But instead he just kept doubling down, KFC double down style every day. You know? And now it's just like look at this. Look. What happened? Did Asmongold just sign off or something? Is that what's going on? Or the rape apologist who thinks America deserved 9/11. How's your boyfriend Luffy doing? It's like awesome.
That you guys are gonna fucking love. I cannot wait. I am so excited. I am giddy to share this with you guys.
But let's be real. This isn't about justice. It's about control. Legal intimidation isn't a new tactic for.
Wait, we're getting a bunch of fucking silly comments. Hold on. Let's go to YouTube. Where is it? Nope, nothing there. So maybe not. Usually when I get a new flow of comments coming in from a place, like it's either Asmongold or Ethan Klein, but it doesn't seem like he's made a video. Oh, what in the actual oh, he did. Never mind. 109,000 views 47 minutes ago.
Obsessed. What is this here?
Sue him, really. I mean it. Hasan is just angry that Luffy is no longer in One Piece. Just sue him. Problem solved. Yeah, okay. There it is. Never mind. Clocked it. Like fucking clockwork, baby. The moment that I see like insane shit in the chat of people being like, honestly, you're a fucking terror-loving piece of shit. I know that like someone made a video, okay? Someone made a video. Might have been Asmongold, might have been Ethan. But somebody out there made a video and uploaded it. And then those guys watched a 2-minute video and immediately came in to be like, I'll show you. I'll show you, sir. Let me tell you, okay? I'll freaking show you what's what, bucko.
For Ethan. These are average Reddit users like you and me. Imagine being so insecure about internet criticism that you'd rather use your money and legal team to shut people up instead of just ignoring it, or maybe reflecting upon it. How many random Reddit users have the resources to fight a lawsuit? Ethan Klein, a millionaire, knows this. Even if these lawsuits don't hold up in court, just the threat of legal fees and harassment is enough to silence critics. The type of environment this cultivates is one similar to countries led by dictatorships. Abusing by silencing critics through censorship and intimidation ensures control over the narrative and creates an environment of fear and obedience. He calls out everyone associated with his so-called enemy. People correcting him? That's a no-go in Ethan's world. How dare Ludwig make a correction on a sloppy mistake in Ethan's content nuke video?
Ethan posted a meme screenshot and reversed the order of events. Fucking Destiny fan confirmed. What a fucking lapdog you are. How pathetic can you be?
This shit's crazy, dude. Like, going after Ludwig is especially crazy because he's Mr. Golden Retriever. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? Hasan being a terrorist sympathizer, rape apologist, and promoting anti-Semitism. Yeah, that would be crazy if Ludwig was on board with this shit. Except this shit is not real. You made it up. You just fucking made it up.
Any fan confirmed. What a fucking lapdog.
Yeah, I'm sorry that he didn't eat up whatever kind of insane nonsense that you just decided to neatly package alongside numerous other erroneous mistakes, ahistorical approaches, genocide revisionism.
Dog you are. How pathetic can you be to fucking curl up on Hasan's lap like a good pussycat? Prefer him, bitch. What a gutless coward. You really got no problem here? Suck my dick. And by the way, having no problem with terrorist sympathizing, anti-Semitism, but God forbid Ethan gets the order of the rising star wrong. What a dumb fuck bitch. So that's Ludwig for you.
He's a hypocrite, of course, obviously. I mean, who isn't, right?
We all might be a bit familiar with Ethan Klein not liking Hasan. And because he wants everyone to not like Hasan as much as he does, he deliberately misinforms in order to fuel a narrative. One of those narratives that he wants everyone to believe is that Hasan is a terrorist sympathizer. So, in this segment of his content nuke, he distorts what Hasan covers here, and also deliberately leaves out some footage.
They take it over, and they tell the people in the ship, usually like mostly Filipino people, Filipino crews, and they're like, all right, well, we got no problems with you, but you're coming with us.
Ethan then criticizes what he says.
What an incredible way to characterize having a gun in your face. Hasan is asking us not to believe our own eyes as we watch terrorists hostilely kidnap the crew.
And claims that they have been...
Why would I not show the video? Why would I show the video and also explain this if I was trying to shelter you from the truth. I would just clip it out of context like Ethan does. I haven't seen this part of the content nuke yet.
MIA for a year.
And once again, the crew is still MIA for over a year. Prisoners to a terrorist organization. But don't worry, guys. Hasan says they have no problem with them.
However, these people did in fact say this to the hostages. And it is not true.
Yeah, the rebels told them in broken English that they weren't pirates and they weren't looking for money. They just wanted to stop the war in Gaza.
That they've been missing for a year without updates, as the kidnappers let the Red Cross, a global humanitarian organization that provides health services and operates in conflict zones, came on board twice by September 2024, 5 months before Ethan's video came out. He shows the headline of this article. When you scroll down on the same article, you only need to read a few lines until you see this. The seafarers, some of whom have been at sea for nearly 2 years, have been held against their will with only limited contact with their families, friends, and loved ones. Their location was known and their well-being was kept updated. This information isn't hard to obtain. All hostages were released alive 1 week and 2 days before Ethan published his content nuke, which is plenty of time to fact-check your hardly worked-on information bomb. Why didn't he know or correct it? It kind of
Perhaps because he was omitting key details. Was it because he didn't know and he just didn't do his due diligence before releasing this, incredible video filled to the brim with fucking erroneous claims, misinformation, out of context clips that he didn't even gather himself? Because even on accident, if he had gathered the out of context clips himself, he would have recognized that he would have taken some of those stupid ones out. Spent months on this shit, made the dumbest possible mistake.
It looks like he doesn't actually give a shit about the movement itself and is just interested in making Hasan look bad.
Next claim is that it's owned by an Israeli company. It's not. It's being chartered by a Japanese company, and the boat's owners...
Yeah. This was another very funny part of the video where he's like, you don't understand. They're from the Isle of Man. These are Isle of Manders. These are just a lot of... It's a seafaring nation, okay?
are registered in the Isle of Man.
Not true. It's owned by Israeli tycoon Abraham Ungar. Takes 2 seconds to find that out. Or you can finish reading the screenshot Ethan showed. Ethan is right that the ship is registered in the Isle of Man, but the screenshot he shares states that it's owned by the Israeli tycoon. So, with a few clicks and clacks with a keyboard connected to a computer, a below average internet connection, we've just learned all this. Why misrepresent this? And now that it is declared that Hasan was right after all, what does that mean for Ethan's case?
You want to fucking bring a ship through here? We're gonna take it. So that's exactly what the Houthis start doing. And they're like, guess what, dog? No more trade to Israel. If you are sending ships into Israel, if you are owned by an Israeli subsidiary, if you're owned by an Israeli corporation, we're gonna take over your ship. Guess what, bitch? It's our fucking territorial boundary, and we're gonna enforce this until you stop doing genocide in Gaza.
So let's review his claims. His first claim is that the boat is headed for Israel. It's not. It's going from Turkey to India.
Now that we've caught Ethan misrepresenting facts again, and the ship was indeed owned by two Israeli, is it possible that this could have led to speculation about its actual destination, Israel instead of India? And given that tensions in the Red Sea region are high, could it be that some ships with Israeli ties might avoid publicly revealing that they are heading to Israel to reduce security risks? It's certainly a possibility. But is this what Hasan claimed what is happening here? Let's see what Hasan said again.
No more trade to Israel. If you are sending ships into Israel, if you are owned by an Israeli subsidiary, if you're owned by an Israeli corporation, we're going to take over your ship. You cannot fucking use this trade route anymore. Guess what? It's our fucking territorial boundary, and we're going to enforce this until you stop doing genocide in Gaza. It is funny. It is funny that, like, did he put this in the video? People not understand that this directly contradicts what he was saying.
The Houthis stated the Houthis themselves framed the hijacking as a targeting of Israeli.
It's just crazy because it's like I try to the best of my ability, because of the fucking endless sea of naysayers out there, given my position on a lot of issues are not exactly the most popular position, especially as it pertains to American foreign policy. I try to use my words very carefully. No, it's mislabeled. That part wasn't in. Oh, okay. He didn't actually put it in the fucking. He didn't actually put it in the context nuke. That makes sense, because I was gonna say if that's in it, then obviously people will understand what the context is.
Affiliated assets in the region. In the past, they have stated that they would target ships or vessels tied to Israel, especially if they were in or near Yemeni waters or the Red Sea. Furthermore, Hasan talks about the Houthi strategy, which Ethan twists around. He takes it out of context.
They're coming in hot with guns.
Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrence. Israeli society is going to start getting upset. They're going to be like, I can't get my treats. I can't get my Amazon Prime deliveries. What the fuck is going on? I hate this. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
I find it disturbing that Hasan thinks that a slowdown of imports is going to cause Jews to flee Israel. 80% of Israelis were born there and do not have citizenship anywhere else. So where do you want them to go, Hasan? Back to Poland or back to the Arab country?
Just a thing that I didn't say at all, but I'm glad that, you know, he's like, oh, I guess you want all the Jews to die in the Holocaust again, I guess. Like, the fuck? No. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
By telling the Jews of Israel to go back where they came from, Hasan attempts to deny Jewish heritage in the Middle East. It characterizes them not as
Jewish heritage in the Middle East, genocidal apartheid state. That is single-handedly a more anti-Semitic statement than anything that I could have ever said. Okay? Yeah, the Jewish heritage in the Middle East is just like doing fucking genocide of the Palestinians. Like, what an insane thing. Yeah, I think he got you good, bro. You didn't even say or hint towards the word Jew, but he still picked out you saying Jew. He's just that good. He's just imagining me doing that. And it's funny because, like, if only Ethan knew what my perspective was on the matter, let's think. Oh, that's right. He knows I'm a one-stater. He knows that I want a secular state there. He knows that I want to afford all rights to the Palestinians that live there and also a right to return to the Palestinians. These are all perfectly moral, perfectly justifiable positions. Except the problem is, if he were to reveal that that is my position, he would have to also reveal to his audience that he has said that that would mean genociding all Jews in his mind. He thinks that giving Palestinians rights is the equivalent of genociding all Jews in Israel. That's what he thinks. He has literally said it. It's not like Mr. I'm pro-Palestine hasn't said these things. He has openly said these things.
Indigenous, but as white colonizers. This is despite the fact that 60% of Jews in Israel are actually native to the Middle East.
The part where Hasan talks...
Yeah, native to the Middle East. Not even native to the Middle East, okay? The MENA region. All the way, that spans all the way to fucking the Levant. Now, historically speaking, how did Jewish people get there? That's a great question. You know, obviously, it's because under the Ottoman Empire, the Ottoman Empire was considered a much safer, a safe haven for Jewish people. And secondly, native to the MENA region doesn't mean native to historic Palestine, okay? Native to the MENA region does not mean native to Palestine. Jews are not monolithic, and neither are all Arabs.
About what led to the Houthi attack is left out by Ethan entirely because it is not quite convenient for Ethan to have Hasan cover a story about an act of resistance against Israel when trying to make Hasan look bad, does
And they're coming in hot with guns.
Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrence, right? So, like, their goal is to film it and show it to the world so, like, other companies that don't want to risk having this happen to their product, having this happen to their ships, literally are like, okay, we're not going to use the trade route anymore. All of a sudden, if you don't use the trade route, trade gets more expensive for the West. All of a sudden, if you can't use that trade route, the Israeli port is going to get bankrupt. Israel is not going to be able to get the materials in time that they, which has happened, by the way. One of the two Israeli ports have gotten bankrupted. Need for waging their war. Israeli society is going to start getting upset. They're going to be like, I can't get my treats. I can't get my Amazon Prime deliveries. What the fuck is going on? I hate this. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal. The goal is to be like, yeah, your shit sucks. Okay, well then stop doing genocide in Gaza.
And it's funny, Ethan always talks about how comments and donations won't help Palestine and the cause.
Creators for Palestine raised $1.6 million. That's fantastic. Literally negligible. They've received billions of fucking dollars. It's a good thing. Has $1.6 million had an outcome on anything happening in Gaza? Absolutely fucking not. Let's talk about real activism. Let's talk about enacting meaningful change. Total fucking failures.
Well, I wonder if this is a more fitting way to help the cause for Ethan. Also, here are a couple of examples of ships changing or hiding their route and destination. The Wise Honest, a North Korean cargo ship, was seized by the US in 2019 for attempting to smuggle coal. It had attempted to conceal its route and destination to evade detection. Chinese fishing vessels have been found employing North Korean crews, violating UN sanctions. These crews were concealed and transferred between ships to avoid detection, indicating deliberate misrepresentation of crew compositions and potential destinations. Ethan wraps up this section by trying to take away the legitimacy of Hasan's words.
And they tell the people in the ship, usually like mostly Filipino people, Filipino crews, and they're like, we got no problems with you, but you're coming with us. We're taking over the ship.
What an incredible way to characterize having a gun in your face. Hasan is asking us not to believe our own eyes as we watch terrorists hostilely kidnap the crew.
Is Hasan asking you not to believe your own eyes? Was it not enough to stay true to the facts, that they indeed most likely captured the ship in international waters, but near their controlled territory? A year-long hostage situation for a seafarer is hard enough as it is. Did Ethan have to make sure to misrepresent facts in order to manipulate perceptions and strengthen his own argument? It would certainly help in appearing on the high ground and convincing others more easily, wouldn't it? This entirely unneeded situation was made more dramatic so people will finally side with him against his personal warfare against his nemesis, Hasan. One case of Ethan Klein taking it upon himself to push an unchecked claim as fact is one where he alleges that a rescued Israeli hostage was continually during her captivity under Hamas. He uses this story in his HasanPiker content nuke as a narrative. But there's just one problem. Nowhere in her interview does she say this. Herself never once stated she was sexually assaulted. Yet Ethan presents this as undeniable truth. Denims, a Twitch streamer that watched this segment of Ethan's content nuke live on Twitch, she questions the claim.
Wait, wasn't this disproven? Was this clip from her disproven? Is he going to play the clip of her?
This clip of her.
But Ethan, instead of reassessing facts and claims, he reacts.
How do you disprove firsthand testimony? First of all, she's a fucking bitch. Shame on you. Fuck you. How dare you? You say you fucking.
No, he's wokely calling Denims a bitch. You don't understand. He's wokely calling her a bitch.
Support women, and you sit here and you fucking giggle and laugh at this girl who was raped, and then immediately you say, I believe all women, and they say, oh, wasn't she lying? This whole fucking thing is so hard for Israelis to process it. You're not going to fucking acknowledge what just happened? She will, to say that she's lying. This is a disgusting human being. She's a vile fucking piece of shit. This entire movement is rotten to the core. It is a joke. And yes, she is a fucking bitch. Somebody that laughs in the face of other fucking rape victims and immediately calls them liars, that's a fucking bitch of a person.
Okay, before I continue, since this is such a sensitive topic, I try not to put too much of my own words and just stay true to known facts and information that exist. The girl in the interview, which was part of a documentary about women who talk about their experiences as hostages, some of them talk about sexual assault, but this woman in particular did not, nor has she ever stated in any interview that she experienced. So Denims is not incorrect here. Ethan saying she was a victim of being continually is just wrong. Ethan does not and cannot have any proof for those statements because there is no proof. And by the way, this woman experienced harassment after her release as a hostage. Some Israelis seem to have found her to talk too kindly about her experience as a hostage and became a target on her own social media platforms.
Yeah, that's the other side of the story. Is that Israeli society is particularly vicious to even Israeli hostages that then will turn around and say like, yeah, I mean, I was more so victimized by the Israeli government when they were blowing up the house that I was in. Like, this has been a consistent testimony from a lot of the hostages, is that because this was, the leverage point that the Palestinian resistance groups had, that they would try to do everything in their fucking power to basically defend the hostages. Not because they like love Israelis or anything, just because like this is a bargaining chip for them.
Ethan is not only re-traumatizing a former hostage by falsely claiming she was a victim of sexual assault, but he's also using a hostile rhetoric to silence anyone who challenges him. He paints Denims as a villain.
First of all, she's a bitch. Shame on you. You.
Misrepresents her reaction at this moment and smears her image.
Somebody that laughs in the face of other fucking victims and immediately calls them liars, that's a fucking bitch of a person.
All because she didn't agree with his claim. He also completely distorts her words. He now claims that Denims called this woman a liar, which she did not.
Wait, wasn't this disproven?
In reality, the only person spreading lies in this situation is Ethan. His refusal to engage in constructive dialogue or acknowledge the truth fosters an environment where misinformation thrives. His unverified and false claims not only damage his credibility, but also encourage a toxic culture in his community, where anyone who disagrees with him is targeted. Another case of Ethan and Hila twisting the narrative to how they see fit is one where Hila's potential collaboration with an artist was rejected for reasons unspecified.
The artist I wanted to collaborate with decided, I don't want to be associated because I'm Israeli. Here's the quote. Sorry, I can't be associated with this company. Thanks for considering. I followed them for years, always.
Like that, I heard that he was blaming me for this too. Like, I never made a statement on any of this shit. And apparently it was an artist that worked with them before, no?
Always supported them, and I have an ongoing painting of his at my house. And this is the result of Hasan's type of activism. Should I out him, Hila?
I don't know is it morally okay to say who he is. Whatever you guys think, I don't care.
What an asshole response to, like, it's almost like he's, yeah, and by the way, like, he doesn't even dignify you with the response of, like, it's like, no, I can't fucking be associated with this company.
I'm just annoyed because it's not the first one. There's another person right now that is doing the same thing to me, somebody that I'm already working with.
This is a result of Hasan's activism. This is what it resounds to. Alienation, hate, racism, and zero.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, bro. I didn't get you to fucking spend every waking moment shitting on every vocal advocate for Palestinians, dude. That's crazy. As a matter of fact, I did the exact opposite thing where I tried to fucking pull you off this ledge over and over again, both in private and in public correspondences. Those clips you used in the fucking context nuke, which is wild. Like, how do you clip something out of context in a conversation that you had with the person that you had a podcast with? This obsession with besmirching and smearing the reputation of every single person that has spoken out, that is in your orbit, or at least like in my orbit, you know, is probably the reason why a lot of people were just like, damn, dude, you fucking really love Israel. All right, I don't want to fucking work with you. Like, that's what's so wild about this entire thing. He now denies calling Jewish Voice for Peace collaborators.
Progress for people in Gaza. Zero. I'm gonna think about if I want to blast him or not. I mean, because like, it's not right. Like, you think you're being the good guy, and like, you're just being a fucking bigot, bro. You're nothing more than a bigot. And also,
like, dude, people have a personal distaste for me even after liking me for years. People have a personal distaste for me. Must be anti-Semitism. You know, no, dude, is what you're doing with your platform. If what you're doing with your platform is entirely negative against pro-Palestinian voices, yeah, of course people are going to think you're fucking anti-Palestine. And I personally think that too. I do think that. I didn't used to think that, but I do now after a year of torrent of relentless fucking smears.
also just to not even dignify you with like a reasonable response. Just so short and fucking rude. What a bitch. Scumbag. Why would you blame someone for something because of where they were born? This is what racism is, but apparently it's totally fine all of a sudden.
Yo, this is crazy. It's like an American. It's like somebody saying, I don't want to work with you no more. I knew you were American. I worked with you in the past. But then I found out that you think Jim Crow and I don't know, slavery was justifiable. Yeah, that's not because you're American that person is saying they don't want to work with you no more. It's because of your current position. With Israel, Israel's been doing a relentless genocide on the Palestinians for 16 fucking months, nonstop. Hundreds of thousands dead. Every standing structure has basically been destroyed. Every fucking hospital in Gaza has been bombed by Israel at this point. Every school has been destroyed. And in that process, if you're like still defending any of those actions, or if your only commentary on the issue is to constantly smear people who do attack Israel, understandably, justifiably, and terror jacketing them, constantly claiming that they're terrorists and claiming that they're anti-Semitic, then yeah, people are gonna understandably go, okay, fuck this. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to work with you. Like this is ridiculous. It's not because you're Israeli or Jewish. It's because of your opinions. It's because of your perspective. It's because of your advocacy. And that is if that person said, I don't want to work with you no more because of your opinions on Israel. Because the reality of the matter is that person didn't say anything, it seems. I don't know the private correspondence, but it's wild.
They're so delusional that if they think if I'm not the person that you want to associate with, then good luck in the world. Because like I am as progressive, I left Israel. I don't even live there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I should be your model Jewish person.
Like, why are you
I should
talking
be your
about
best friend.
Instead of addressing any potential reasons or questioning why this response was received, Ethan and Hila spun the entire situation into an attack against Hila for being Israeli, straight into playing the victim card when a situation doesn't suit them. Let's read what exactly the message said again. I'm sorry, I can't be associated with this company. Thanks for the consideration. Is it maybe possible the brand's rejection had nothing to do with Hila's nationality? Instead, it had everything to do with the growing controversies surrounding the H3 podcast and its declining reputation. Ethan has stirred up multiple public scandals. Companies are simply less interested in associating with that kind of baggage. Ethan and Hila have reframed themselves as victims, immediately jumping to the conclusion that this was purely because of discrimination of her Israeli.
As someone who's new here, why did Ethan Klein suddenly go down the anti-Palestine route? Hardcore? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I can only speculate. And my speculation is that he was at a moment of crisis where, as someone who had become more progressive over the years, he had cultivated an audience of very progressive people that also like to listen to goofs and gaffs and drama and shit. And they did not like what he was saying. They did not like what he was saying about Israel and his own personal fans, like people like Morgan, right? Like Frogan is used to be a fucking massive H3 stan. You understand? A fucking stan. It's probably embarrassing for me to reveal this about her now. And I'm sure she won't appreciate me saying this, but like literally a fucking H3 fucking stan. And when you're an H3 stan and the person that you actually enjoy the content of is just like putting the crosshairs on you and fucking beaming you into oblivion over and over again, and just like and calling you a fucking terrorist and you're seeing a torrent of Islamophobic nonsense in your replies over and over again. In that process, like, yeah, other people are going to see that and be like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? So many of these people that are constantly attacking Ethan are people that were in his fan base. Damn near the entirety. He is one of the OGs. He is one of the OGs of YouTube. And I think when all these people basically turned around and were like, yo, I don't fuck with this anymore. I think you're like super pro-Israel. This is you're being like weirdly defensive over Israel, and you're constantly shitting on people who are pro-Palestine while simultaneously saying you're pro-Palestine. That just like caused him to lose his mind a little bit, and he was looking for a reason. Like, it can't be that people came to this conclusion on their own, responding to what his output was on this issue. It must have been someone else that was moving the scales, tilting the scales against him. That's why he kept saying like, oh, dude, why don't you control your chat? Why don't you control your chat? Your chat is like coming after me. Your chat is coming after me. Your chat is coming after me. And I told him personally, you're a clown, and Asman owns you. Say goodbye to your Houthi friends. Thanks, chatter. Clockwork, baby. Not bots. These guys are not NPCs, okay? Anyway, the point I was making is that I told this to him straight up. I told this to him in private. I told this to him in public. I was like, if you keep saying stuff like this, that, you know, Michael fucking Rappaport and many other like ultra Zionists at the time were saying, then of course people are going to think that you're pro-Israel. And that's what happened. But instead of taking ownership over what he was saying, maybe going back and like reconsidering the way that he was Asmongold is a pedophile. He should be in jail. What the fuck? First of all, don't fucking say that. I never said that. You're baiting in here so you can get me to fucking say, yeah, that's true. So you can clip it, post it on Asmongold subreddit, and continue the fucking drama. Get the fuck out of here. Okay? I never said that, bitch. So smart, this guy. Ooh, he got me. Okay? Yeah. God forbid I post a meme after Asmongold fucking calls me a terrorist 1,000,000 times over who deserves to be deplatformed. And then the one joke that I make, because he watches that fucking lolly YouTuber from the state of Texas, where lolly might be illegal soon, you know? Anyway. God forbid I make a joke about that and all hell breaks loose. Comedy I thought was legal. What happened? Hold up. I thought comedy's legal now? No, it's not. It's illegal. Yeah, every time you respond with 1% of the energy, they get so mad, be it Ethan or Asman. Yeah. Oh, he apparently got really mad. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. You should watch that Asman video from the Clip channel. I was the guy who called you out for that dumbass Asman tweet. He said it was he supported the law if they could implement it without misuse, which triggered the fuck out of you. And now fascist propagandist is telling a defamatory brothel narrative to millions of people for the first time in response. It's not the first time that he said that. And also, who gives a shit? It's fucking bullshit. I don't care. You are your own worst enemy. I like that you're in here again, coming in here to be like, dude, I was trying to protect you. Okay? Like, I post a fucking meme because Asmongold is not personally a lolly enjoyer, but he does watch a lolly fucking Gamergate YouTuber all the time. Something I've literally called him out for, by the way, in the past. And you turn around and he goes, yeah, this fascist propagandist is fucking saying that you went to a brothel. It's your fault. You're your own worst enemy. How about at a certain point you give ownership to Asmongold over what he's saying? Is he not a fucking adult? The fuck? Uh, 2009 account? Goddamn. I didn't even know this website existed in 2009. That's crazy. Apparently, the only reason Ethan talks about you is because you do this and speak about him in any way. Yeah, totally. That's why I didn't ever talk about him for fucking months on end until he actively tried to get me and everyone else that was pro-Palestinian deplatformed.
Identity, redirecting the audience's outrage into the abyss towards the unknown entity. According to Ethan and Hila, anyone who disagrees with Israel's actions is automatically an anti-Semite, ignoring the fact that political criticism and discrimination are not the same thing. This rhetoric is dangerous because it down all discussion and labels legitimate concerns as bigotry. Ethan and Hila are creating a culture where no one can question him without facing extreme backlash. They twisted the company's entire short message to the narrative that they are victims and Israeli, despite the reality. There is also a pattern that keeps repeating. Ethan keeps getting facts wrong. Ethan confidently presents something as fact only for it to be corrected, and instead of taking a moment to verify, his first instinct is to go on the attack. Rather than taking a correction with humility, Ethan's response is often aggressive. He insults the person.
I have decreed, let it be known, that Denims is a dumb fucking bitch.
Calls him names.
What a fucking lapdog you are. How pathetic can you be to fucking curl up on Hassan's lap like a good pussycat? Prefer him, bitch.
Then, after the barrage of insults, sometimes, not always, Ethan realizes he was actually wrong.
She is an ex-Destiny orbiter. In fact, it's rumored, I'm pretty sure that they had a sexual relationship. I don't know why I thought that. I swear I read that somewhere, but that's okay. My bad. Apparently she did not have sex with Destiny, although it... I spoke out of turn. She did not have sex with him. She was friends with him. She benefited from him. She did not have sex with him.
That is a fact.
So, I know I should apologize once again to Denims, the dumb fucking bitch that I hate. Just because I was wrong about her sleeping with Destiny, I spoke out of turn there, and I apologize for that, even though I despise her for every other conceivable reason. Is there anything else I should emphasize?
This kind of behavior has real consequences. Not everyone watches every episode, and by the time Ethan admits he was wrong, if he ever does, his audience may have already clicked off the video, missing the entire part where he confirms that he was incorrect after all. The person bashed is left dealing with the fallout. The reputation is stained, and many of Ethan's viewers will never even know that he got the facts wrong in the first place. When you have a platform as big as Ethan's, you have a responsibility to get things right. But instead, he repeatedly spreads false information, attacks those who correct him, and barely acknowledges when he's wrong.
You got there.
But I mean, like, ultimately, I still feel like it's not that material, considering, again, that she was nominated once and won.
Yeah, you used the wrong image. So, and you reversed the years, which, again, I do agree, slightly makes it worse, the way that you presented it versus reality.
I disagree.
His audience, whatever he may have left, trusts him, but misinformation combined with aggressive responses to correction creates a toxic cycle where the truth often takes a backseat to entertainment. If you're going to critique others, you need to hold yourself to the same standard. Getting facts wrong happens, but how you handle corrections say everything about your integrity. The way Ethan treats his mistakes, especially when it involves publicly bashing innocent people, sets a dangerous precedent for how online discourse functions. Also, when he admits he was wrong, he always has to deflect by pointing out something he thinks the other person got wrong.
She was the victim of the crime of Atriarch and the recipient of my inappropriate joke, okay? My problem is with Ludwig being a spineless coward of a human being.
He can't just take accountability and leave it at that. And on top of that, he usually downplays the significance of his mistakes.
Do you think that's a meaningful distinction?
And what happens when someone responds to his Instagram stories and livestream content? He downplays what the person on the other end receives.
The timeline of events literally shows that you were unaware of the petty attacks. Me being a casual H3 watcher at the time, hadn't even known that there was beef since leftovers, merely disagreement. It wasn't until so much later that he started posting to Instagram that I realized what the fuck happened. His fans turned on him and he was apparently blaming you all while the election was going on. Yeah. The point is, everyone else is at fault. It's ironic because it reminds me of that Tim Pool clip. This one, hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, here, this.
That I'm about to be 34 and I have no family. Because my dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is, though? It's definitely not me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's everybody else.
Yeah.
This part.
It's definitely not me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's everybody else.
That's it. That's the consistent through line here. Like that's what it is. It's not that like people came to their own conclusions after hearing what he was saying and had disagreements with Ethan. It's actually, it must be Frogan. It must be it must be the creators that worked on Creators for Palestine. It must be Hasan. It must be every single other person. And it's ironic because then they fucking turn around and say like, oh, Hasan, you're obsessed with sex pestiny. You claim it's sex pestiny. When in fact, none of these other fucking people, especially someone like myself, rarely ever talked about Ethan at all. I spent an entire fucking year being like, I don't give a fuck about what Ethan is saying. He's not your enemy. Defending him over and over again. Okay? Defending him over and over again. And yet the entire time he thought I was like, secretly an anti-Semitic pilling his own fan base somehow. I was mind controlling his fans. I would yell at chatters actively. Tell them to shut the fuck up about Ethan. Ban chatters that constantly kept bringing Ethan up. Only until after the election and after he like consistently tried to get me deplatformed and did successfully deplatform a bunch of other content creators for the crime of saying Sabra Hummus is dog shit, which apparently he agrees to as well. Did I ever start talking about Ethan and oftentimes to just like clear the air about the relentless, dare I say, vicious attacks from his fans that had no interest in this issue at all, but instead were, this is the video. I like this on TikTok as well. Here. For an entire fucking year, dude.
Ethan is a mega Zionist. You are wrong, okay? Trust me. I don't think you know many Zionists if you think Ethan is a mega Zionist. Not even close, dude. Time and time again, I've spoken about how Ethan is not your enemy. A person who cries when a Palestinian child dies is not your enemy. Okay? He's not. I've said these exact words over and over again. I told people in this community and people everywhere that will listen to what I have to say that you have to choose who you are actually angry at. There are people who are so loud and so proud about the ethnic cleansing campaign that Palestinians are experiencing currently. Go yell at them. He's been shitting on you on his members-only streams. I don't care. I don't care. Bro literally shat on you yesterday and his coworker for saying from the river to the sea, sorry, dog. I don't care. I do not care. This is petty drama, okay? I don't care. And neither should you, okay? I will always stand by Ethan's ability to empathize and want to learn and want to change his perspective, okay? That's it. Ultimately, Ethan has the capacity to arrive at a meaningful position because he has empathy for Palestinian people. He is literally better on this circumstance, this issue, than 99% of like Americans who are ultra Zionists. Okay, I'm not saying the entire country is ultra Zionist, but like 99% of Americans in the media and 99% of Americans in position of power that literally are just like unconditional support to Israel. Shut the fuck up. I've always demonstrated that until it reaches a boiling point, that I will always be kind to those around me that I believe I can communicate with, that I can lead by empathy.
Sorry to say, but this age like milk. Yeah, big dog. Notice what I'm saying here. I will always show charitability to those who demonstrate empathy. I think the boiling point happened. That's the difference. That's the difference.
Okay? This has been my policy in perpetuity. You know this if you've been in here long enough. I fucking tried with Aiden Ross, okay? And Ethan is not Aiden Ross. I think he will inevitably come around. Ethan is my friend. I think he's an empathetic person, and I hope
that here, no one. By the way, this got posted in H3 subreddit as a defense of Ethan. Wait, what? People don't understand that while this was happening, Ethan was shitting on me. And I was like completely unfamiliar. What the fuck?
Like changing your perspective on an issue that is like near and dear to your fucking heart is virtually impossible. It's one of the hardest things you can do. I will forever have respect for him for doing that on his own. Okay. Everything that people say cynically he did to like win favors with a larger crowd. Fuck that. He did it on his own. You want to know why I know he did it on his own? Okay. You want to know why I know he did it on his own? Because look at the situation. He has family in Israel. He is absolutely shaped. Like his worldview is shaped by this experience. And instead of just like writing off every single thing that people have said and very comfortably finding himself in the bosom of like Zionist sentiment, which he could have just as easily done. He could have just turned around and been like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm scared. These people are being anti-Semitic. And there is a lot of anti-Semitism that increases in times like this. That much is absolutely true. Instead of fucking turning around and being like, fuck that, he's like trying to tackle it head on and go through the internal conflict, that internal struggle that he feels with his own personal experience, with his own personal worldview and his morality and the way that he sees it from what he perceives as a completely hostile audience.
And you need to, as a community, also stop fucking ripping into Ethan non-stop. As I've said it over and over again, leading up to the conversation that we had on this broadcast. You guys are so fucking stupid for doing that. You are. And it frustrates me to no fucking end. I've told you this time and time again in this time frame, just like I kept telling you, Ethan is not your enemy over and over again. How does it feel to be wrong? No, I'm never gonna stop doing this, for the record. Like, this is a consistent position I've held for every single person. As long as they're like, I always think it's not okay. It doesn't give you brownie points or bonus points when you're fucking right ahead of time. Okay. Especially considering that the reason why I didn't want to fucking talk about Ethan at that time was because I was busy covering actual shit that was happening. And there was no reason to offer any fucking space to what Ethan Klein was saying. Also, I think you guys misunderstand, but like, his perspective did shift over this past year. He became a lot more outwardly supportive of Israel. I don't think you recognize that. There's two things that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to stop being charitable to people until they've shown me that they just don't care and that they're disingenuously doing everything in their power to come after me, my friends, people I care about, or issues that I care about from the opposite perspective. I don't think I was wrong for being charitable. You know? And I'm not going to stop being charitable to people, even if they're not charitable to me, until it reaches a boiling point, regardless. Because this community has grown to this size because of that principle. Because I actively try to explain to people that I understand where they're coming from. I understand what their initial positions are. And I understand the effort that it takes to make your own conclusions, to undermine your social conditioning from your development that you've taken for granted. So yeah, if you're demanding that I stop being charitable to people, you're wrong. It's not going to happen. That's why I love iDubbbz, Ethan as well. People that have actually changed course, recognize their mistakes in the past, and now advocate against those sorts of things, I think are very valuable, because every single person has a reactionary perspective deep down inside on one issue. We are all totally susceptible to the intersectionality of privilege. Privilege causes us to have blind spots. Ethan is my friend. We may have disagreements every now and then, but I have maintained the position that his heart is always in the right place, and he's on a journey of learning. Every single day I went live in the beginning, every single day I would spend at least 5 minutes to 30 minutes talking about how Ethan is not your enemy. You should not yell at Ethan. Ethan is a good person. Be more charitable to those who are open and susceptible to your opinions. Every single day. I'm still friends with Ethan, by the way. I still talk to Ethan every day. Every single day. Throughout the stream. Just say Ethan is a fucking idiotic take. Ethan and I obviously have disagreements on this stuff, but Ethan has also personally said it isn't apartheid. What the fuck do you want? As a dude who did go on birthright, he is infinitely more progressive than, you know, a lot of these people that are writing these fucking, a lot of these people that are writing these letters and Ethan fans will watch this clip and not understand what changed without a shred of irony. And what changed in this process is his commentary, is his focus. If the only thing that you have to say about Israel is how mean pro-Palestinians are, then you're not fucking pro-Palestine. That's it. Shit, okay? Please, stop fucking yelling about Ethan all the time. Jesus Christ. Time and time again, I told my adult community to shut the fuck up about Ethan. I even banned the mention of Ethan in this community, and I think still to this day, it is banned. The idea that I did not try to genuinely scale back the harassment that Ethan was experiencing is ridiculous.
How you do PR for Ethan Klein, who's a Zionist? You do PR for Ethan Klein, who's a Zionist. How can you tell her not to defend a Zionist when you defend Ethan Klein, who's openly Zionist?
Are you okay? Ethan Klein, Israel, an apartheid state in, I think, 2021. Okay? Ethan himself has been very critical of the state of Israel and has even called it an apartheid state far before October 7th. That chatter was right. I was doing fucking PR for a Zionist. At that point, I didn't even know what his latest shit was. If you guys remember, at that, I think this is like basically the turning point, but like I did not know why people were constantly fucking up Ethan's ass because I was not paying attention to what the fuck he was doing. But I think this is when he starts like talking a lot more about this is when he starts like hammering at fucking pro-Palestinian advocates. Okay? I personally don't even care if he's like calling me out or whatever. I heard that like people were saying that Ethan talked about me on his podcast today or some shit like that. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. For me, you know what I do care about? Ethan considering what Israel's doing to be genocidal far before October 7th. Okay? I do care about that. I think that that matters. Especially when he is so close to the subject matter. So close to the different aspects of social conditioning that play a pretty prominent role in the development of American Jews, who are very progressive people overall. Okay? I don't care. In no matter what he says about me, my community, or my mods, I still firmly believe, okay? I still firmly believe that regardless of everything else, regardless of how he's responded to people yelling at him online, regardless of all of that, I place a lot more emphasis and a lot more value on those things that he has said. There's very real anti-Semitism directed towards him, directed towards Hila, directed towards Jewish people across the board, and that fucking terrifies him. And I think that there's a real element there. For a lot of... Okay, the rest of this is clipped out of context. I think this is, at this point I'm talking about... This is clipped out of context because I remember this. I was talking at this point about how there's real anti-Semitism directed toward, but I think like he mistakes that with like the pro-Palestinian crowd. And I think that there's a real element there. For a lot of Jewish people especially, like, yeah, they see anti-Semitism rising, and if at any point do they actually associate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, and people like Dan Bilzerian play a fucking formative role in people assuming that all people who criticize Israel are just like him, they're like fucking Holocaust deniers or whatever, yeah, you're gonna freak the fuck out. He's got Jewish children, you know what I mean? He doesn't want him to grow up in a fucking anti-Semitic country. Yeah, I think this is where the last couple of ones where it's like I'm figured out. What do you think it would take for Ethan to reform his perspective? It's just self-reflection. Anyway, yeah, I'm always gonna be charitable. Oh, here it is. They actually cut so many parts out of it. Wait, this is a fucking. How long is this video?
Fucking Holocaust
This
deniers
is a
or whatever.
7-minute video. They took the 7-minute video and clipped certain parts of it and posted it in here in case H3 snarkers continue to call Ethan Zionist here. The few times Hasan even says Ethan is not a Zionist and is supportive of Palestine. Why wasn't this in the nuke? I see things every day that could easily debunk all the snark lies. Sorry for not getting passionate, law. I'm just sick of the BS. Oh my God. Hasan now calls Ethan a Zionist, but the funny thing is that Ethan hasn't changed his position at all since he multiple times said Hasan said he's not a Zionist. Was Hasan lying at one point, or does Hasan only hold whatever position that will benefit him at that particular time? Hasan calls him a Zionist now that it suits his narrative while defaming Ethan. Classy dude. These guys will literally never understand. They won't understand it. They're done, I think. See the November 1st, 2025 part? He cut the part where you say you'll be charitable until it reaches a boiling point. Dude, he denied the fucking Nakba. He said that the real harm during the Nakba, which was a planned mass ethnic displacement event against indigenous Palestinians conducted by early Zionist brigades, was not the main evil that took place, but instead was all of the Jewish people, sometimes voluntarily, other times individually, personally leaving the surrounding region. The surrounding region that is not Palestinian, by the way, just other Arab nations and North African nations to go voluntarily to Israel. He said that that was a bigger harm, a bigger evil than fucking the Nakba. I'm sorry, when you say stuff like that, you're obviously not fucking pro-Palestine. You're doing genocide revisionism. To me, it's like no different than being a Holocaust revisionist while it's currently ongoing.
I'm 100% against anyone calling CPS on YouTubers they don't like. 48 hours after being harassed by Ethan Klein. Bitch, it's not harassment. Grow up. These people are so pathetic.
And as usual, expect twisting things around to make the other person look bad.
You choose to participate in a snark Reddit page with your name on it, and then it's a problem that Ethan points it out. I'm sorry, it's
the interview bad empanada, bro.
Disgraceful to participate in a snark.
Yeah.
It is, and
I think it's
Ethan
disgraceful as a
is allowed to point it out.
And also,
and if that's too much for you, maybe get off the internet.
Right,
and
or at least get off.
maybe don't work for a reputable company like Red and Link. You don't deserve to work there.
But Hila knows. Ethan did not only point out a Reddit post that speaks critical of Matt, he also posted this, and this, and this, and this, called him evil and a piece, and went on, making sure everyone and their mum has heard of where Matt works. Why did Ethan do this? Well, Ethan says it himself.
And I think he should be fired, frankly. And I hope he is fired because he's pathetic.
She would tell her friends to back off.
Isn't the whole point that you are saying difficult things, that you're taking the difficult stance? You're not it's not about going along with the crowd and being like, I hate racists, guys. Aren't we all the best? It's about actually fucking doing the right thing when it's difficult.
Yeah, no, you're right. Doing the right thing when it's difficult, as in join my mass harassment campaign against all of these creators that I want deplatformed for, one, being pro-Palestine, and then two, actively saying I'm out of my fucking mind when I claim that those people are all anti-Semitic and successfully deplatform them. It's wild. Why won't anybody else also join in on the fun here, guys? After all, this is all to combat anti-Semitism, which is why I'm going after people who are not anti-Semitic. Jesus Christ.
To do.
Yeah.
I mean, go back to the civil rights. You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything?
Ethan has faced criticism, sure. But let's not confuse criticism with actual systemic oppression. To equate someone disagreeing with your podcast to the struggles of a marginalized group fighting for basic human rights shows...
Yeah. The least protected identity in America is not like, we're not even talking about Judaism or Jewish people who are marginalized, okay, who are a minority. There's a different kind of marginalization that takes place for sure in comparison to like black people, obviously. But having said that, no, the only group of people in America that are actively marginalized are people who are pro-Israel. Famous people who are pro-Israel are under attack, and we have to put a stop to this, please. Nobody ever wants to stand tall and stand proudly by the side of influencers who are pro-Israel. Why won't anybody think about at a time when pro-Palestinian getting their legal permanent residency revoked by the Trump administration? You know who's the real victim? Unimaginably wealthy fucking podcasters who are pro-Israel. That's who. Those are the people. Why won't anybody stand with the people that are basically channeling the exact same position of the State Department? It's like you got everything. You got everything you want. If I was winning so hard in terms of policy, if I had free health care for all unconditionally, if I was able to put a dent in American foreign policy, if I got all of my wishes from the government, I would not be fucking chirping that people don't like me. You know? It's crazy. It's crazy. You got everything you wanted, and you're still complaining because people don't like you. It's like, what the fuck do you want?
A serious lack of understanding. So here's the real question. Where does this end? How far does Ethan get to go before people finally say enough is enough? How many people will be harassed, misrepresented, threatened, or dogpiled before he's held accountable? Because at this point, it's not about defending himself. It's about controlling the conversation by any means necessary. And the longer this continues, the more obvious it becomes. Ethan Klein isn't fighting against harassment. He's weaponizing it. Thanks.
Yeah, this is a good video. Tommy Robinson, who's a well-known far rightist in the USA and UK, is extremely pro-Israel. They've been embraced by, and Jewishness too. What the fuck is extremely pro-Jewishness? What the fuck does that mean? They've been embraced by those who in the past would have been prejudiced against them. Tommy Robinson is super pro-Israel, and he's a fucking massive rabid Islamophobe. And a straightforward neo-Nazi. There are many people like Tommy Robinson. You know? Anyway, we're done with this